Vijay Singh was leading. Kamran Dubash was in second. Kulwant had slipped down to third. Saranbir Singh was fourth. Karna Verma is fifth. Rohit is in sixth as well.
Yes, and it's been red flagged now, so the race has been stopped. The bikes will line up on the grid and wait for the orders of the COC to go forward again. But in the meantime, I think all the procedures are being pulled out by the medical officers on the track to make sure that the rider is secured properly before being taken into the ambulance, so no injuries are aggravated at any stage, and he's got the best of support possible.
Which means, of course, with the race being red flagged, there'll be a restart to the race. The interesting part is it's been red flagged in the second lap itself. So are we going to get a full 8-lap race because the incident's taken place in only the second lap? That's going to be a big question.
Yes, I think that's going to be up to the stewards to decide whether they want to carry on in that way or whether they just finish the number of laps that are left. Well, as long as they haven't finished 3/4 of the race, they have to restart the race. Now it'll just be a question on the number of laps, like you said. But it seems the riders are riding through the pit, and they might line up at the exit. So that seems to be the protocol at the moment. They're all lining up until they're given permission to go further.
And the two bikers who did not finish, who probably were involved in that incident, Supreet Sartor and Shashank Sharma. So out of 13, we'll see 11 bikers restart the race.
Absolutely. Our hearts go out to the rider who's fallen unfortunately. Seems to be slightly injured because he was lying down on his back but giving everyone a thumbs up. So he's probably hurt himself and just being, taking all the right precautions. Doesn't aggravate anything. But when you're racing, you're on the limit. When you're in a car, a saloon car, you have a roll cage, you've got the tin top on you, you've got doors to secure you. It's less dangerous. But then when you go into the single-seater formulas, you're exposed. You're only wearing a helmet on top, and you're exposed to the elements. And in a bike, it's just you, and there's nothing to protect you around you. So it's a dangerous sport.
Which is why, having said that, as Viran has said, it does involve a certain degree of risk. But what you've got, the jumpsuits that the bikers wear actually have additional protection along the spine, right at the back. They've got extra padding on the shoulders, on the knees, on the elbows. So all the joints are actually well protected and reinforced in that race suit that they wear.
Absolutely. They wear the best equipment that is available and is homologated by the FIA and the FMSCI, so that they're trying to minimize the danger as much as they can. But yes, it's a dangerous sport. In fact, back in the day, on the back of our racing licenses, it was written, "Motorsport is dangerous." So know what you're getting into. It's not a game where it's just easy. You are pushing yourself to the limit. You're pushing the machine to the limit, and yes, sometimes things don't go according to plan.
Well, as they say, that motorsport is as dangerous as life. But what the regulations that have been put into place, the FMSCI has done, the FIA guidelines have been laid down to make sure that racing happens in a controlled environment, and that's something that the National Racing Championship also adheres to in great effect. Kudos to the FMSCI for making sure that all the rules are adhered to. The safety equipment available on the racetrack. The bikers and the race drivers have the proper equipment that they wear. You have these flame retardant suits that the drivers are wearing nowadays. So I think whatever precaution can be taken is being taken.
Absolutely. As you said, the drivers and riders wear suits which have probably 3 layers of fireproof Nomex. And under that, they wear another layer of, it's almost like a tracksuit under that. So they're wearing 4 layers of fire retardant material. They wear balaclava under their helmets for their heads. They wear gloves. They wear shoes, all of which are completely, fire retardant. And yes, you're giving them the best shot. If there is trouble, you're giving them the highest chance of surviving an incident and coming out trouble-free.
Which is why we always say that if you're an ardent racer and racing is something that you want to try it out here under controlled conditions in a protected environment rather than trying it on the roads of the city that you live in.
Exactly, and like you saw, the rider fell down in the parabola, and within seconds or within a minute, you had an ambulance at his disposal. And if that were to happen on the road, I think we all know that's not going to happen. So yes, if you want to push your bike, your car to the limit, think of motorsport, do it in a, like you said, a controlled condition, and learn how to control your bike, your car well, push it to the limit, and yet not endanger yourself and other people.
Let's get back to the race. Remember, this is the JK Superbikes Cup that's in action. We're seeing the 600cc bikes. The race has been red flagged because of an incident involving a couple of bikers who went down. And now, I think the race will restart. It was stopped in the second lap. Vijay Singh was the man who was leading. And now it'll be interesting to see if that's exactly the order in which they come back onto the racetrack once again.
Yes, it'll be interesting to see how they line up. I have a feeling that they're going to restart the race, and it'll go back to the qualifying positions. It's interesting to see the lap times though. If you see the lap time set by Vijay Singh, it's a 2:04 compared to 1000cc bikes, which are doing I think close to 155s, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, and you saw the signage that came up, awaiting the official confirmation of whether it's going to be a full 8-lap race. I dare say that's something that we will be heading towards. It could very well be a restart. It will be a restart to the race, but with the full 8 laps is probably what seems to be on the cards. We'll give you an official confirmation of that in just a bit. Quick updation on the JK Superbike Cup. Get this one round at the BIC alone. Remember, the JK Tyre National Racing Championship, the FMSCI Run National Racing Championship, has 4 rounds, 3 of them in Coimbatore, and then we head into the final round of the BIC. But unlike the Euro JK18 or the Formula LGV4s or the Suzuki Jigsaw Cup, this is only contested at the BIC.
Absolutely, you know, the BIC has become the hub for motorsport in the north of India, and especially with the bikers. I've done a few track days here in my track day car, but each time I've come, there have been at least 50 bikers with their various CC motorbikes doing track days, and they really take advantage of having one of the best tracks in the world at their disposal. They have every weekend, week in and week out. It's a great community, a great brotherhood, and yeah, as you can see by the timings that, you know, they probably, if we had some international competition, our lads and girls would be right up there with them. So yes, the riders are very dedicated, and yeah, it's great motorsport.
But it does seem to be a full restart to the race, which means we'll get to see 8 laps of this race unfold, and I think they will line up on the positions that they'd qualified on, not the positions they were running in when the race stopped.
Exactly. It'll go back to the qualifying positions, and yeah, I think it's going to be a good race for, I think, the first 3-4 positions, with Vijay unfortunately having a bit of an edge over his competitors with the experience and the confidence in his motorcycle and his riding. I believe, in fact, that he runs a custom motorcycle business in Jaipur as well, so he's really completely immersed in his motorcycle world.
You can see Kulwant, of course, he starts off on P2 once again. Kulwant Singh had a qualifying time of 2 minutes 7.681 seconds, and you look at the race timings that he was clocking over the 2 laps that were done. He was almost thereabouts, there and thereabouts.
Yes, I think the guys, like you said, they're growing in confidence. You know, as the more laps you have under your belt, the faster you're going to go, the more you know the limits of your machine. And especially in race conditions, these guys didn't want to push too hard in qualifying. You want to make sure they start, on the grid, and there you see Varun Singh on the grid, looking focused, not looking at the camera, not getting distracted. Vijay Singh, sorry. Oh, he gave us a wink over there. So he's enjoying himself. I've seen him here quite regularly on the track days. So yeah, it looks like a beautiful bike as well.
1 minute before we see the bikers in action once again.
Yes, I think are they going to go for a formation lap? It seems so. I think they'll do another formation and then start. So that is the protocol, and they'll warm up their tires again, make sure it's up to race temperature, and we're off again.
And also get a quick sighter of the racetrack. On the formation lap, a stuttering start for Vijay Singh. Doesn't really matter. Remember, it's just a formation lap. They'll have to line up once again on the grid when they complete the lap to start the race once again.
Yes, I think he takes it quite easy on the warm-up lap, and I think the other guys are far more keen than he is to get going at a very fast pace. But ideally, that should not be happening. They should respect the leader and allow him to lead the pack. But you know, they will be probably penalized by the race stewards if they see there's a breach in rules.
1000cc bikes in action earlier this morning. This is the 600cc category that we're witnessing action for. Awaiting a restart to this race.
Yes, it seems Vijay's dropped right to the back of the grid. Hope that everything is okay with his bike. But yeah, I think it'll be all right. I think he just likes to take it easy, and the rest are just extremely enthusiastic.
Look at the track overall. It's picturesque. Remember, it's witnessed Formula One racing in the country, and an iconic. It's an iconic track, something that you aspire to race on.
Yes, I think every Indian who's a fan of motorsport has dreamt of driving the car at the booth or ride his bike at the booth. And yeah, it's a great track. They've maintained it superbly over the last couple of years, even though there haven't been many races from the international series over here. But JK Tyre has held their race biannually and supported the booth. And you have many manufacturers hosting track days. They open the track up to enthusiasts. So yes, the motoring culture is growing, is strong in India, and is going from strength to strength, and that's all we can ask for.
Still leading the pack, Kulwant Singh. Remember, this is just the formation lap. What it does is gives the bikers a clear sighter on the racetrack. Probably they map the track at the back of their mind, preparing for how they want to approach each corner. Where do you want to be braking? What racing line do you want to take as you go into a particular corner?
Absolutely, just making sure that, you know, their line is fine and the red flag is up again. I guess I can't quite, maybe just to start the race again. But I don't see Vijay Singh there at the moment. And I think more importantly, after there's a crash on the track, they should check the track for debris. Because if they get a puncture on these bikes, it's extremely dangerous because they're doing such high speeds down the straight that even the smallest puncture can be extremely dangerous for the bikers.
Now, a quick update on what's happened. Remember, it was supposed to be an 8-lap race. The bikers had done 1 lap. They were in the 2nd lap when an incident took place and the race was stopped and red flagged. So it's going to now be a 6-lap race that is going to unfold at the BIC.
Yes, and all the bikers are ready. The red flag goes off. The green flag is waved at the back of the grid. Everyone's lined up and we're ready to go.
5 red lights are on. Remember, when they go off, the bikers have to go off as well. And this time around, there's absolutely no problem for Vijay Singh, who darts off that starting point, the starting block, like a squirrel. He's off. He's in the lead into C1.
Absolutely. He got a great start over there, and the lights went off really quickly. I think they didn't anticipate that a few bikers were sleeping on the grid. But yes, we're off to a flying start as they make their way up to C3.
Good start indeed for Vijay Singh, and that's something we were talking about earlier as well, how he tends to take it easy during the formation lap, but come race time, you see a very different character. And straight away he's pulled off at least about 3 seconds between himself and his nearest competitor, Kulwant.
Yep, Kulwant is, I think he's fallen back into 3rd. We've got Kamran Bash who's chasing him, and Kulwant trying to go down the inside into C4.
So, move made early on by Kamran Dubash. He's into 2nd. As Veer was saying, Kulwant slipped down to 3rd. Saranveer, Karan Rohit, all in that back of top 6.
Yes, I think the top 6 is going to be quite closely knit. Vijay is going to be quite far ahead, but I think from 2nd to 4th to 5th, they're really going to be battling it out.
Yes, he's pulled away from the back. Look at the kind of speed that Vijay Singh is clocking at the moment. He seems ahead and, you know, head and shoulders ahead of the rest of the pack.
He's like got a gap of over like a 1.5 seconds already over the 2nd place. So obviously he's really won this bike, really confident, got a laps down at the track over here, and yeah, he's looking so comfortable. I don't think he's going to be troubled much today.
Doesn't seem to be the case, albeit there's a fight on for second spot between Kamran Dubash and Kulwant, as we see some of the spectators looking on. The race action, we're still in the first lap. Remember, it's a race that's curtailed now to 6 laps instead of 8.
Absolutely, 6 laps to go, and I think as they cross the line now, it'll be 5. Vijay Singh in the lead, Kamran Dubash in second, and Kulwant Singh in third.
So at the end of the first lap, Vijay Singh is leading by 3.326 seconds over Kamran Dubash. That lap time in the opening lap itself was 2 minutes 4.208, slightly slower than what he clocked the first time around. He started the race, so it's still faster than his qualifying time.
Exactly, he just seems to be in that zone. If he can consistently be in the low 204s, these the other riders will not be able to catch him, because even in qualifying, Kulwant's best time was a 207 and Kamran Dubash's was a 209. So yes, he's definitely got an edge on these guys, but the battle seems to be on between Kamran and Kulwant.
Yes, and these two, Kamran and Kulwant, have just barely got about 0.6 of a second between them. So there's not much between number 2 and number 3. But then they've pulled away. At least a 4-second gap between Kulwant and Saranbir Singh, who's running 4th.
Yeah, Saranbir is fairly new to racing. I think last year he made his debut. So he's doing well for a person who's only got a couple of years of racing under his belt. But he's a very big enthusiast, loves his bike, has quite a few. And yeah, I think he's doing very well, but yes, he needs to get a lot more lap time and a lot more experience before he can match the big boys.
Let's stay with the race leader. The moment he's in your picture frames, that was Vijay Singh into the second lap. Remember, just another 4 laps to go after this one. It's a curtailed race thanks to the incident that saw the start of the first race being red flagged, so it's a restart to that race.
Exactly. After this lap, Vijay Singh coming in. It's into turn 15, the second last corner of the race lap, and yeah, coming to the last corner, Vijay, you can see, has really pulled quite a margin. I think close to 3 seconds over Dubash, who has got Kulwant breathing down his neck.
There's a certain elevation as you get up to the parabola, and then coming down towards that final bend. It's also a slight slope down heading into that final corner.
Yes, the track is quite undulating. From C1, which is the first corner, you go up to C3, and as you carry on till C4, which is the long straight, you are going uphill. And as you reach the highest part of the racetrack, which is C4, you take the right-hander to C5, and then you start going down. And then a lot of bends, a lot of flowing corners, a bit of braking here and there. But yes, it is quite testing, and is very challenging for all riders and drivers.
Now 2 laps gone, and the lead just seems to be swelling for Vijay Singh. He's got a 5-second lead over Kamran Dubash, but there's not much to choose between Dubash and Kulwant Singh. Just 0.5 seconds separating Kulwant and Kamran Dubash. So Kulwant would say, I'm still in it, I'm still in the hunt, at least to get the second spot.
Absolutely. Obviously, Kamran Dubash has really upped his game from qualifying. He's lapping in the race at 207s, where he qualified in a 209. So he's dropped 2 seconds, which is no short feat. I think full credit to Kamran, really raising the game on race day, which is what we all want.
And that long shot gave you a clear perspective of how the race is going. 5 seconds between the race leader, 5 seconds and counting. That's counting upwards, not downwards, between Vijay Singh and Kamran Dubash. And then Kamran and Kulwant having a battle of their own for second. And then Saranbir is not even in the frame because he's 12 seconds behind the race leader.
That's a massive lead, 12 seconds in 3 laps. That means an average is 4 seconds a lap fast. And full credit to Vijay. I mean, that just shows how much faster he is as a rider and on pretty much equal machinery. So he's really showing he's really earned his stripes.
Remember, these are 600cc bikes, so there's not much difference in terms of the engine power that's being generated by these bikes.
Exactly, and Vijay Singh finishes yet another lap. 3 laps down. He's did his last lap of 205. So yes, he's slowing down a bit. I think he realizes that he can take it a little easy and not be caught by the competition.
It's a lot about now looking at safety as well, making sure that you don't squander the race lead by trying to push your bike too much. It's also a whole lot about when you're cornering, the weight transfer on the bike, the angle of tilt that you want to go into a corner and approach it at. It's just minor things, but they can make such a big difference.
Like you said, there's so many factors that play into how fast you can go lap time. In cars, for instance, your aim, and similarly in riding, is to keep the bike as straight as possible for as long as possible. Because as long as the bike is in a straight line, it's going to be the fastest it can be. And as soon as you put a little angle, a little bit of tilt, a bit of steering, immediately you're scrubbing speed. So yeah, as you can see, that it's a delicate balance of, and it's got to be driving on the limit. The precision is everything, and Vijay Singh is just running away with this one very easily, it seems.
It's also a whole lot about making sure that you do not get complacent, especially on a bike at speeds like these.
Yes, I think he now needs to really focus, because if there's no pressure, he's not going to push himself. But that's the time you can really drop it. And that's something which he would not forgive himself for. But unlike Rohit Khanna in the last race, who was under tremendous pressure and lost on the last corner, I think Vijay has just got to battle himself. I don't think it'll be too tough for him today.
Just staying with the race leader, he's in your picture frames at the moment. Vijay Singh, the man we've been talking about so very much. That's because he's just got no competition today at all.
I feel like he might consider moving up to the higher class next year. Might give him a little more competition, but the competition in that class is super stiff. So yeah, I think he looked to compete further and get faster, but I think this is a good thing for his competition to note, that he's really set a benchmark for them to pursue, and they really need to play their game to come close to his lap times.
Yes, 4 laps gone, and he's now got a lead that's almost 9.5 seconds.
Yes, but last time out, Kamran Dubash has just set his fastest lap over 2:07.240. So yes, he is trying his best, pushing his bike to the limit, but he has got Kulwant Singh right on his tail.
Yes, he does. Now, just a quick take about Vijay Singh. We've talked so much about his biking, but Veer Raina mentioned about how he customizes bikes back in Jaipur. Remember, he's born in a Rajput family, and his father gifted him a bike at a very young age. Now, he runs a company called Rajputana Customs, where he ends up modifying bikes for his clients as well.
You can see the passion really runs deep, and probably from a very young age, and in the family as well. So yes, he's doing a great service to his father, who's obviously encouraged him so much. And yeah, they must be very proud of his achievements in motorsport. And of course, he is one of the most reputed custom bike builders in India.
There's a story about Vijay Singh, about how his father built a bike for him when Vijay Singh was just 7 years old. And that was a 50cc engine BSA Falcon that his dad had built for him.
That's amazing. So obviously building bikes and racing bikes must be in the family. So yeah, kudos to him for taking the baton forward, and we hope that one day we'll have his son or daughter on a bike here at the booth.
Remember, he's done a mass communication course as well as Vijay, and yet he's just switched lines and said, hang on, I'll stay with my first love, which is biking and building bikes as well. Otherwise, he could very well have been reporting what's happening here at the BIC.
Yeah, he could have joined us in the commentary box. Yeah, it would have been lots of fun to have him here. Maybe we can get him in later and have a chat with him. I'm sure he'll be happy to have a chat with us. He's got a lot of great tattoos as well, so he's obviously quite an interesting guy, and he's got many stories to tell.
Absolutely. It's interesting scenarios here as Vijay Singh is leading. 5 laps gone. It's the 6th and final lap now. 5 laps, and he is leading by 7.245 seconds ahead of Kamran Dubash.
Yes, and there Kulwant Singh's trying to go down the inside into C1, but Kamran sees him off. But surprisingly, in the last lap, Vijay has dropped his time from a 2:05 to a 2:09. So he's really taking it easy, but I saw him just look back at his rear tire. I think he might be struggling a little bit.
He's still got enough gap as far as Vijay Singh's concerned between himself and Kamran Dubash. So I don't really think there's too much that he's going to be bothered about. It gives me time to tell a story about Vijay as well. The fact that John Abraham, who loves his bikes, reached out to Vijay to build a bike for him. It was called the Lightfoot, and that's a bike that Vijay Singh built for John Abraham.
Wow, I think he builds bikes for a lot of celebrities, and you know he's quite a low profile guy, so he doesn't really show off. But I'm sure he has quite a few amazing bikes, and I know that they wait years actually for a custom production of his. So yeah, and I think Kulwant has now made the move into second, and Kamran Dubash has been relegated to third. I think that was Kulwant's strategy from the beginning.
Just hang on till the time's right to make the push. We'll stay with the race leader, Vijay Singh. We've talked so much about his love for bikes and how he does build syndicate bikes for a whole lot of his clients, including celebrities. For the moment, he's a celebrity of his own because he is racing towards what will be a race win in the JK Superbikes Cup in the 600cc class. This is the final lap, remember, and there's not much competition at all. He's got a gap of over 7 seconds between himself and his nearest competitor.
Yes, he's cruising to the victory now, going into C16, the final corner. Again, having a look back to see everything's well with his tyre and where the competition is. Nowhere near. He cruises now into the final corner, onto the straight, sitting up, not even accelerating, just chilling across the finish line in great style.
Yes,
but who's coming in second? It looks like, who's run away? Is that Kulwant? Has he pulled away?
Yes, it is. It does seem to be. Kulwant should be the man crossing the finish line in second spot, and it will be Kamran Dubash who comes in third. So Kulwant reclaiming that second spot.
Yes, Kulwant finishing in second, finishing the fastest lap of his race in a 2:06, 5:75, and Kamran Dubash having a bit of an off-color last lap, falling to a 2:13. So something probably they may have touched and he must have got thrown a little bit, but I think he's happy with third. He seems all right.
So the way they started in terms of qualifying and lining up on the start grid is the way they've wrapped things up as well. Vijay Singh with the race win. Kulwant comes in second. Kamran Dubash is the man who's finished third. And what I would love to hear Vijay Singh tell us once he does get up to the podium is what's the name of the bike that he's riding, because from what I've heard, he loves giving a nickname to each and every one of the bikes that he custom makes, whether it's Lado or Agori or Jordar. He has these very peculiar names that he gives to his bikes. So I wonder what he calls this one.
Well, I like that he gives them nice, it seems Rajasthani names, keeping up with the name Rajputana Customs, really keeping the tradition going. And yeah, I agree, he must have a very interesting name for his bike. Last I remember, I think Sebastian Vettel used to name his cars, like Kinky Kylie and stuff like that, but I think I like the Rajputana Custom names better.
Well, that's the way it's gone. You saw Kamran Dubash, there he is in your picture frames. He's come in third. A battle-scarred veteran, so I wonder if there was an incident. It really hasn't left too much of a mark on his bike or on him.
Yeah, his body language seems quite, he's not too pleased with himself. I think he had second for most of the race, and then I think, Kulwant, known to be a really intelligent racer, just, kept it quiet, kept it easy, and then when the time came to pounce, he did. So yeah, well done to the top three. A great race. And Saranbir, well done to him as well in fourth place. And then from Saranbir to Karna Varma was a massive gap of 54 seconds. So quite a large spread in this group.
Yes, indeed. He was 54 seconds behind the race winner. Vijay Singh was Karna Varma. And a gap of 26 seconds between Karan and Saranbir Singh. That just tells you how staggered the race grid actually got as the race went along.
Yes, obviously Vijay had some great pace, and Kulwant and Kamran were matched extremely well. But then from there on, they seem to have been quite a few gaps. But when it comes to superbikes, the 600cc class is the entry-level class, and you have people who are interested in bikes making their debut, learning, almost training on these 600cc bikes, and you'll see there will be a differential. But when it comes to the 1000ccs, I think they're much closer, really packed, and yeah, again, experience is everything, seat time is everything, and being comfortable on the bike. And this track is so fast. You really, on a bike, got to be really confident to really hold on to it and push it to the limit. And yeah, I think these guys have done well, and hats off for participating and making it to the start itself. That's an achievement as well.
And that final lap that was put in by Kulwant Singh clocked a time of 2 minutes 6.575 seconds, which is the best lap time that Kulwant has clocked this race weekend for himself. So that's actually what propelled him ahead of Kamran Dubash and helped him finish second.
Exactly, it's almost a full second faster than his qualifying time. So he really upped it on the last lap. But if you look at it that way, if Kulwant Singh could have maintained a similar pace of those 206s throughout the race, he could have bothered Vijay Singh, because that is faster than Vijay Singh's qualifying time. Oh no, not really. Vijay Singh's were 204. But you know, he could have been there or thereabout. But consistency is everything in motorsport, and there you can see Vijay Singh celebrating his victory, his friends, his teammates congratulating him on a very well-deserved victory.
So we'll take a short breather and return with the podium presentation in just a minute.
A clear winner, as we expected, from the qualifying round. Kulwant Singh joining the pit lane. And the winners, along with the teammates, freezing a moment right now inside the pit lane. For a beautiful memory that they will cherish for a very, very long time. You can also see the moments of Vijay Singh right now how so many Jesus, beautiful place. Riders are already the one of the tires of the next race. But before that, we're going to have a podium celebration and the podium ceremony.
Right then, without further ado, we're getting down to the Tyre Superbike 600cc, the podium number 3, the race number 3 for today. I am very, very happy to welcome Euro International head, Mr. Antonio Ferrari, the man who's been responsible for many of the Formula 1 drivers driving in his car, the cars that he does. Warm welcome to Mr. Antonio Ferrari, who is right now a wonderful gentleman. And he will be accompanied adapted to number and what welcome. Couple of numbers who finishes at number 3. Congratulations, Kamran. Coming at number 2, Vijay Singh from number 45. Vijay Singh. And Vijay Singh taking his own little time, he was soaking in the moment just to come down here. Come on, Vijay Singh! Well done. There's a lot of practice there. And now we have the winner, Vijay Singh! Congratulations, come on everybody. Right then, without further ado, now I request Mr. Antonio Ferrari to do the honors for Kamran Dubai.
It's time for the presentation ceremony for the JK Superbikes Cup 600cc for the race that just unfolded a little while ago. Cheered on by the supporters. It's going to be a third place finish for Kamran Dubai, who put in a very strong challenge all the way through. Second place for Vijay Singh. He reclaimed that spot that he'd lost for most part of the race. But the race winner, without a shadow of doubt, it's been a strong performance from Vijay Singh, who clinches a race win. And that's the way it's gone in the JK Superbikes Cup 600cc category. We'll take a break now and return with more race action in the post-lunch session today. And we'll be back with live coverage at 2 p.m. Indian Standard Time.